I did a video recently about debt to EBITDA and how the banks use it to see if you are in compliance with a loan. And another way to do this as well is EBITDA to interest or interest coverage. It's a ratio that the banks might set as a covenant to say, are you in compliance with the terms of a loan? And let's just walk through a quick example here, just like we did on debt to EBITDA, to show you how it might work. So similar to my last example, if you look here, there's quarterly EBITDA, and then you get to an LTM EBITDA or a last 12 months EBITDA. And that simply is the sum of the last 4 quarters or the last 12 months, and on a trailing basis. So every quarter, it just rolls forward one additional quarter. You drop the last quarter, the first quarter that you had in the previous calculation, and you add on a new last quarter. And you can kind of see that here. So that gives you LTM or last 12 months EBITDA on a quarterly basis over here. Then you do the same on quarterly interest expense. You can see I've fixed it here that, this assumes that it would be the same fixed amount of interest every quarter. And then just do the same LTM interest expense or last 12 months interest expense. And you can see how that calculates out here as well. So with that, it's really as simple as dividing the EBITDA by the amount of interest. And this shows you how much EBITDA you have relative to your interest expense. So here we have about 3 times as much EBITDA as we do interest. And you can see how that actually changes over time as the LTM EBITDA declines, which you can see kind of here going from 26 to 22. The ratio starts to decline, or the coverage, interest coverage starts to decline from 3.1, which is in compliance, to 2.6, which is obviously out of compliance. And so here I've just set the example of EBITDA to interest covenant of 3 times. And you can see that's set across the board. And then same as we did last time in the debt to EBITDA example, in this example, we compared our actual EBITDA to interest, which is here. Is it greater than the covenant? And if it is, then okay. If it's not, then it's a breach. And here, this is the inverse to debt to EBITDA. Obviously, the higher the EBITDA to interest, the better. It means you have more EBITDA to pay your interest expense. As this starts to get low, the banks will really worry, because if it was a 1-to-1 ratio, for example, you're going to use all of your EBITDA to pay your interest, which doesn't leave any wiggle room, obviously, to pay principal or any other expenses. So, and then we've done the same thing here. So if there's a breach with the color coding, we did the same thing as we did last time. So this again is you go to conditional formatting, highlight cells and rows, and then you can just do greater than, or so here we're going to just do equal to, and because we have okay, we'll make that. You see how that changed to red, but we want it green. You just say green fill with dark text. You can change it to actually whatever color you want, but basically this is a good way of just kind of seeing it visually. Anyway, I hope that kind of helps talk through a second metric for looking at debt and covenants, and I'll see you next time.